Alright, we're here, the final day of the first leg of Blast Bounty. We have now decided the final 8 teams going to the LAN finals in Malta next week, so let's talk about the last 4 teams to make it through today. We had the Mongolz taking on Pain Gaming, MOUZ taking on Vegt, Aurora taking on Heroic, and then an Austin major rematch between Legacy and Vitality. Let's go ahead and see how things played out. If you guys have been enjoying this coverage of Blast Bounty, you can show me by leaving a like and a comment down below, subscribe to the channel if not already, help me at 10k subs by the end of the year. Also, I want to, by the end of Blast Bounty, hit 1,000 followers on my Twitch channel. We are currently at 809 at the time of making this video, and shit ends next Sunday, so we got 7 days to make that happen. Follow me on twitch.tv/LionHeartZ2 and help me get better numbers so I can co-stream in the future. Lastly, I would like to thank today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by SkinsMonkey, a CS2 trading website. You put in the skins that you want to trade, you select what you want, you use my code LionHeartZ for up to $5 off, or click the top link in the description, and boom, new drip.
Nice.
You can also use my code for a 35% deposit bonus if you want to buy with real money. And they have a free section with cool giveaways. So check the top link in the description, use my code to buy 15 Dragon Lores to let them know I sent you their way, and thank you to SkinsMonkey for sponsoring this video. Our first matchup of the day was Pain Gaming throwing down the gauntlet and challenging the Mongolz, hoping to take a big scalp and an even bigger payday on their way into the playoffs. Unfortunately, Pain Gaming would not be able to summit that hill as the Mongolz took home a close 2-0 series win. Both of these maps were neck and neck, going 13-11 on Dust 2 and then 13-10 on Ancient. This could have and realistically should have gone to a third map, but in both cases, it was the late game that really let Pain Gaming down as they were unable to close things out and reach match point. And all that was despite Pain having such a rough go of things in the first half, only winning 4 T-side rounds, with the Mongolz jumping out to an early 7-1 lead. It really came down to some great CT side work in the second half from Pain to keep this game close. Look no further than round 21, where both teams are pretty strapped for econ. Whoever wins this round is going to force a save out of the other, so it's a real pivotal swing moment. If you're Mongolz, you can ice the game right here and now. It gets off to a good start with Senzu getting a pick out in mid on the fake mid to B, allowing Mongolz to set up for a late cat hit, where 910 gets another opener through the cat smokes on the top of the site. So now the Brazilians are caught in an interesting situation. It's a 3v5, it's a very difficult retake. Should you even go for this, or should you save the weapons for whatever happens in the next round? However, there's been a lot of damage done through nade and indirect chip. So even though it's a 3v5, a lot of the Mongolz players are nearly one-shot. So as the bomb goes down, Bubblesj rotates through CT with the MP9 and starts going to work. Gets a great double kill on 2 low players. Then NQZ gets a pick on the top of the site with the AK. Bubblesj cleans a triple right after, and suddenly that advantage evaporates from a 5v3 into a 1v3, allowing Pain to keep their heads in the game. And, because the next round is an inevitable save from the Mongolz, tie it up at 11-all. Unfortunately for Pain, Blitz pulls off a classic play for him, where in this round, he's just going to walk down through the double door smoke out to mid, catch the player in mid, unawares of what the fuck's going on for a free pick. Meanwhile, on the B side, it's a split B push. Snow gets a nice double kill before getting traded out, so it comes down to a 3v3 post-plan situation, but this B site retake is just so brutal. It's so hard to get through the doors. And with DGT taking 17 million damage from a Molotov and then getting fucking nuked from orb from Blitz thereafter, it's no longer tenable for Pain to win this round, and the Mongolz strike back to get match point first. So you get what I mean. This was a very close scenario where Pain could have easily gotten match point, but Blitz jumped them at the right time with some good mid aggression that allowed Mongolz to position themselves in a good way to get that match point first. Blitz would continue leading the way. He would end up top fragging on Ancient, going for 23-13 and a 1.69 rating. Meanwhile, for Pain, they really only had Davideus as one of the players standing out, as the rest of the squad failed to get above a 1.0 rating, with DGT and Bubblesj really having a rough go of things, DGT going for 12-20 and Bubblesj going for 6-14 respectively. Despite all that, Pain had the lead up 10-8 in the second half, before their T-side hit a brick wall with some very, very timely multi-kills from the Mongolz, like Blitz in round 21 out mid, where he just dominates from the cubby, or if we cut to the very next round, it's 9-10 on the B side with this incredible quad kill. Pain were just unable to find any kind of advantage and conceded this lead all the way into defeat, allowing Mongolz to take the series 2-0. Pain, they get eliminated here, but honestly, the Mongolz are an incredible team. It's very hard to beat them even in an online environment, and Pain realistically should have pushed this to a third map, so overall, I think they played fine enough. For the Mongolz, they took care of business. An online group stage is not where I'm worried about them, it's definitely the playoffs still. Our next game was between Bait and MOUZ, and this was another 2-0 affair with MOUZ walking away with the victory. On the first map, Ancient, things were decidedly one-sided, with Bait jumping out to an early 5-0 lead, and then failing to win a single other round for the rest of the game to win 13 straight and end the map. And that's not ideal if you're a big Bait fan. And despite this Bait roster being a team that turned a lot of heads back at the Austin Major, at the end of the day, you're challenging the big dogs. MOUZ are at worst the third best team in the world, and when you go man for man, band for band, Bait just don't really have the firepower to compete. Despite players like Headtrick, MPL, and Essential having their moments to shine, you're just not going to compete with the fact that roll for roll, they're just getting mogged at every position. Zershin, Torji, whoever, Spinks, Brolin, they all had their moments where they just shot hotter. Don't get me wrong, it can be a little bit lazy to just go look at the scoreboard, but the scoreboard tells a lot of the tale here for Bait. Look at this. Look at that. Headtrick, the only person with anything close to a positive rating, he ends with a 1.112. The next closest player has a 0.74. Like, the gap was just monstrous. And if you just switch it over to just look at the T-sides, you can see how fucked Bait were throughout the majority of the series. Train was no better. The only reason Train looks close is because it was such a CT-side affair. Both teams could not win any T-side rounds to save their lives, but MOUZ are one of the most dominant CT-side teams in the world, so I'm not surprised that they managed to take things home so dominantly in the second half. At the end of the day, I respect that Bait decided to swing big, but they swung and they missed. In what was probably the most one-sided game of the day, we had Heroic taking on Aurora, and on paper, I think this should have been closer than it actually was, had Heroic had a stable lineup, because going into Blast Bounty, there was some very weird news. Out of nowhere, like 1 week into the Grix project, Heroic benched him, and put out, frankly, this very weird statement where they described that Grix, while being a good player in the server, didn't necessarily fit what they were going for. This appears to be a decision directly from Tobiz himself, and basically, long story short, Grix is benched. They're buying up Alcaran from Spirit Academy, but that transfer was not ready in time, so throughout Blast Bounty, they were going to use Scrub from Heroic Academy instead. So, very weird situation. The Grix project is over before it really got to start. Yeah, Heroic did not look great at IEM Cologne or Fisher Playground, so I guess that makes sense. It's just a very weird situation. So essentially coming into this, Heroic aren't playing with a full roster. It's not really practical to expect them to do much of anything, and because of that, they got ran out of the server by Aurora pretty succinctly. They got absolutely fucking stomped on Overpass with Wakadia and Jota just trading multi-kills like it was going out of style. And I'm convinced I can make a joke out of this. Jota's using a John Wick profile picture. Hold on, give me a second. I'm thinking, there's a joke here. Jota Wick. Alright, boom, we did it. Perfect, ship it. God, I'm so fucking funny. At the end of the day, this ended up being a very non-competitive series. It was a 2-13 stomp on Overpass, then a 9-13 brush away on Dust 2. I thought Woxic looked very good on Dust 2 especially. I mean, there's really no complaints for Aurora. They did what they needed to do. They didn't make it painful. I still don't really have a good read on the roster because it's hard to tell where they are in the context of other teams because they had to play with a stand-in and IEM Cologne. So really, the LAN finals for Blast Bounty are going to be our first chance to see Aurora in the context of facing some of these other new and juiced up lineups. So we'll see. Zontara's turned 30. He's still taking heads. That's inspiring. Heroic, I guess we'll see what Alcaran can do. Just a very, very weird situation. And our final match of the day, the most anticipated one left, was between Legacy and Vitality. And obviously, there's a lot of great storylines going into this. Could Legacy repeat their performance from the Austin Major and turn into something bigger? Could they beat Vitality in a best of 3 and put those format asterisk critiques to bed finally? It would have been very interesting to see play out. I think Legacy are a very exciting young team, and they got smashed 2-0. Not for lack of effort, pushing Vitality to overtime on Mirage to begin with is totally commendable, but on Dust 2 it was 13-8, a decidedly one-note affair. But overall, if you're Legacy, I think you took Vitality much further than most people would have expected. It's not Inferno, it's not the Austin Major, but it's still nonetheless a pretty impressive showing. I think the big thing that Legacy still lack, and I'll piggyback off a point that Maui made on the desk afterwards, is that this team doesn't really have a closer. They have some hot riflers who can blow open rounds like Dumao and Lotto, but they don't have that guy who's going to be able to win clutches, to win low man situations, to win these dynamic momentum shifting rounds. They could do it occasionally, but they don't really have someone like a K Serato, for example, who is more known for that playstyle. they're going to be a team that lives and dies by whether they can ruthlessly run you over with aggression. If that aggression gets stopped, they have a lot less options for finding those round wins. Look no further than on that Mirage game, when once we get to overtime, Legacy couldn't find any purchase. A lot of these rounds were super decidedly one-sided in the favor of Vitality, even if Legacy got good opening picks. They couldn't find a way to hold bomb sites on the CT side, and their one attempt at a T side round got easily stopped by the combination of Mezzi and Rops on the A side. If I had to make a comparison, when I watch Legacy play, I see a lot of what you would see from a Mongolz game, just everything a bit worse, where they don't have quite the same versatility that Blitz can bring as a fragging IGL, and then they don't have the same kind of star power. The other obvious thing they lack is a player like Techno, who is very, very good in the clutch, even if he's nowhere near Mongolz' best player. Shifting focus for Vitality, they looked very locked in this entire game. A good bounce back from bowing out of IEM Cologne early. We'll see how they do in the LAN playoff section. I would not be surprised if Vitality are going to just win this event outright, because again, consistently, who is going to stop them? The other thing that has to be mentioned, especially on Dust 2, what the fuck kind of timing is Rops on right now? Because through Cologne and to now, he is just blitzing every game he plays in. Over his last 12 maps since we've come back from the player break, he's only dropped below a 1.0 rating twice, and both times he didn't even play that bad. He was above a 0.9. He just has been stuffing the stat sheet, and when he's not dropping those 2.9s, every other game is a 1.1 or above. It just continues to be proof positive that Rops getting Vitality for free is one of the biggest fucking scams in the history of esports, and Rops might be one of the best value add pieces to ever play Counter-Strike. Like, is he going to be the #1 option on a lot of the teams he plays on? Probably not. But if you need someone to fill, there is not another player in the game right now who is at the star level that Rops is, but plays his roles. It's very rare to see someone who's such a versatile anchor and lurker, but is also going to put star level output. Typically, that's just not how this works. A lot of times the star rifle role plays like Nico spots, where like they're the second man in, they're a big initiator on the T side. It's like, no, Rops is basically, you don't have to give him anything and he will consistently give you numbers. You invest 0 resources in Rops and he will deliver you wins. Anyways, Legacy, good try. Maybe next time, best of ones might just be your only way to beat Vitality. Who knows? Anyways, that's going to be it for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. You can show me by leaving a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel already. Having 10K subs by the end of the year. Thankfully, it's a little bit shorter, but that's because every game was one-sided today. It is what it is. I'll see you guys next week for more Blast Bounty coverage in the LAN finals. Make sure you follow me on twitch.tv/LionHeartZ2. Help me get to 1,000 followers. Please, do it. Do it now. Thank you to SkinsMonkey for sponsoring this video. Check the top link in the description. Go to try on their website. Let them know I sent you their way. Thank you to SkinsMonkey. Thank you to my channel members: Justin, Jesse Furley, Milan Berta, Bubblesj, Dr. Cocktor, Patatas Kaftesi, PTR, B1Gates, Cody Foxworthy, Justin Vegt, I'm Flashbangs, Snowy White, Rowdy, Vergil'sPlasticChair, LBKcs, Snax Enjoyer, Crunchywater, zerotwocs, and drudenae. If you want to become a channel member, you can do so. The link in the description down below. For a bunch of the game of the video, just like this, well, it's custom on the community Discord. Woo! Nailed it. First take, no cuts. Fuck yeah. I'll see you next time. Peace.